All right, let's dive right into this explainer because today we're going to completely flip how you think about putting things off. For as long as most of us can remember, procrastination has been treated like a dirty word, right? Like it's the ultimate productivity sin. But today, we're going to look at the actual nuts and bolts mechanics of why we delay. And you know what? We're going to see that it's actually a highly predictable, beautifully designed system.
Think about that really heavy burden of self-blame you carry around when you delay a project. The universal assumption out there is that if you put things off, well, you're just lazy, or you simply lack willpower. We constantly tell ourselves, I know I should do it, I just can't start. But what if that self-blame is built on a total misunderstanding of how the human brain actually processes tasks?
So, let's start with section 1, the myth of laziness.
Here is the truth. Procrastination is actually a predictable mental gatekeeping system designed to protect you from perceived risks. Think of it kind of like the ancient gates of Delhi. Those massive doors didn't open slowly because they were broken or because someone forgot to oil the hinges. No, they were expertly built to open slowly, specifically to control what gets in and what stays out. Procrastination works exactly the same way. It's your mind deciding, nope, not yet. This feels way too costly right now. It is actively trying to protect you from things like discomfort, failure, judgment, or even just boredom. That brings us to section 2, the mechanics of delay. There's a core tension we face every single day. Delay protects your mood in the short term, but action protects your outcomes in the long term. And the thing is, your brain doesn't naturally ask what's best for your future self. It just looks at the immediate moment and asks, what feels too costly right now? When procrastination happens, it literally just means short-term relief won the tug of war. Let's map out exactly how that win happens. Starting a tough task creates discomfort. Pulling away from that hard task, well, that gives you immediate pressure reduction. It's exactly like the reflex of snapping your hand away from a hot pan. That movement isn't about some grand long-term strategy for your hand. It's about immediate pain reduction. But here's the catch. That relief is a real physiological reward. Your tension drops, your body relaxes, and your brain says, phew, good, we escaped. Which means step 3, that burst of relief actually teaches your brain to keep avoiding things. This whole cycle creates a self-reinforcing trap. Your brain essentially discounts the future. It's like setting aside a bucket of water for a fire you can smell in the next room, but you can't feel burning your hand quite yet. Because the fire isn't literally burning you in this exact second, the urgency is incredibly easy to ignore. Your brain says, hey, later me can deal with it. But as we all know, the task doesn't magically get easier later. It just accumulates way more pressure, meaning the next time you try to start, it feels even heavier. Let's move on to section 3, the hidden start cost. This is the absolutely crucial point here. Procrastination is a short-term emotion management strategy that creates a long-term outcome problem. We aren't dealing with a time management issue at all. We are dealing with an emotion regulation system in disguise. When we understand procrastination as a strategy for managing uncomfortable emotions, it becomes completely obvious why simple just-do-it willpower slogans always fail. You're trying to solve a complex emotional systems problem with a bumper sticker. Before you can get into a state of flow, your mind has to cross a threshold, and that requires attention, uncertainty, and emotional commitment. That threshold feels exactly like pushing a massive, heavy door. The very first push takes the absolute most force. Once it's moving, momentum takes over, and it's so much easier to keep it open. But the brain mistakenly experiences that initial, intense friction of the first push as the total weight of the entire task. Because that door feels so heavy, our attention naturally wanders, but it's not random. Think of your attention as a flashlight in a dark room. You can try to point it at the scary corner where your hard task lives. But if something in that corner scares you or makes you feel inadequate, the beam naturally, almost automatically, keeps drifting away to safety. Scrolling your phone, reorganizing your desk, answering easy emails. These aren't just random distractions. They're emotionally safer landing pads for your attention flashlight.
So, how do we fix this? Section 4, breaking the pattern.
Imagine 2 people assigned the exact same report. Person A just sees a bounded work task. Sure, it requires some effort, but it's just a report. Person B, however, looks at the same assignment and sees possible criticism, proof of incompetence, and immense pressure to be brilliant. Same surface task, completely different emotional weight. That contrast brilliantly illustrates why different people react differently to the exact same assignment. It's not the work they resist, it's the emotional meaning they've attached to it. To break the pattern, you don't need to suddenly develop a stronger personality. You just need to ensure the old keys of delay stop fitting the lock. You do this by altering the equation. First, lower the emotional cost of starting by making the very first step incredibly small and concrete. Stop demanding perfection on the first try. Second, weaken the emotional reward of avoiding. Don't let avoidance be an easy escape. Keep the task mentally present. And third, shrink the time gap between the decision to work and the action. If you stand in the hallway of indecision too long, your brain is going to open up a side door to distraction.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, From Self-Blame to Skill.
The very moment you find yourself procrastinating, I want you to stop asking, why am I so lazy? Instead, ask yourself this: what discomfort is this task carrying? This question is an absolute game changer because it shifts you away from feeling like you have a moral failing and moves you toward actually diagnosing your emotional resistance.
What's so fascinating here is how concrete this abstract threat really is. A blank page is almost never just a blank page. For many of us, staring at that blinking cursor translates to, I might not be good enough, or I might confirm a deep fear about my own abilities. No wonder your brain wants to go scroll through social media. It's literally trying to save you from feeling terrible about yourself. Because procrastination isn't just one single thing. We need a targeted toolkit. If it were a single problem, we'd have one universal fix. But it's a family of patterns. If the task feels boring, the real issue is low stimulation, meaning you need to change your energy or the structure. But if the task feels scary, well, the issue is fear of judgment or perfectionism. In that case, adding more pressure or using a hardcore motivation hack will completely backfire. If the problem is overwhelm, you need first step clarity. You basically have to match your solution to the specific flavor of discomfort.
So we're going to leave you with this final provocative question to ask yourself the next time you feel that urge to pull away. What is this task costing your nervous system right now? Is it the heavy cost of ambiguity, the cost of potential judgment, the cost of low energy? When you can name the pressure, you can change the pattern. You can replace the useless habit of self-blame with this incredibly powerful diagnostic skill. And once you do that, the heavy door of starting, well, it won't seem quite so impossible to push open.